Steve Zissou is Viktor Bout's attorney, joining us live tonight. Sir, thank you for your time. Your client has been convicted of conspiring to kill Americans. Why should he be released?
Well, look, first of all, thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to explain to the American people and your audience the truth about Viktor Bout. And frankly, I'm gratified that you started out with that rather ominous saying that Brittney Griner has been in jail for 140 days. You can do the math. Viktor Bout has been in jail now for 5,445 days. That's almost 15 years that he's been away from his family, his only daughter, and his wife. And so he's got about 5 or 6 more years to go on his sentence, no matter what. And so it seems to me it's kind of a no-brainer. Look, Viktor Bout was set up by the U.S. government. And you don't have to believe me when I say this. These are the findings made by the federal judge who presided over his trial and his sentencing. She gave him the mandatory minimum because she had no choice. She would have given him less. She has said that repeatedly if she could have. So he was targeted by the U.S. government because of crimes they thought he committed years before, because of conduct they believed he was involved with years before. And so they targeted a Russian citizen who was retired and living in Moscow, created a crime so that he could be charged in an American courtroom. Now, those are the facts. I mean, that's part of the record that was established as his trial. Brittney Griner, on the other hand, as we all know now, went to Russia. She pled guilty to a crime, a serious crime under their laws. I say serious under their laws, not as serious as it would be under our laws. Remember, our drug laws are way harsher than Russian drug laws. We routinely send folks to jail for life for nonviolent offenses, including drug offenses.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
If he is not guilty of what he has been convicted of, why is it such a priority for the Russian government to have him back?
Well, it's for the exact reason I explained to you. When you target someone's citizen, a respected citizen, here in the U.S., he's the notorious arms dealer, just like in Russia, Paul Whelan is the notorious spy. In Russia, he's a respected citizen who the U.S. government targeted while he was retired and living in Moscow. That is, I don't know how else to put it, but that is an attack on a country's sovereignty. And you can only imagine what the reaction of the folks in the United States would be if, for example, the Russians targeted somebody like Donald Trump, for example, in Mar-a-Lago and tried to get him involved in some sort of a criminal act just so he could be charged in Russia. The people in the U.S. would be outraged, as well they should. But here in the U.S., simply, we ignore that. But Viktor Bout, targeted by the U.S. Department, I shouldn't say Department of Justice, targeted by the DEA and then prosecuted in a tiny little district in New York City, and dragged him over here, literally kidnapped him in a foreign country and brought him over there. He's got 5 more years to go. You think the Russians are a little upset about this? I don't blame them.
Steve, does he have any current ties to any terrorist organizations around the world?
Well, first of all, he's never had any ties to any terrorist organization. That was all a created thing that the DEA put together. He had never provided arms to anyone. Indeed, he had a transport business. And by the way, do you know who the UN found used his transport business? The United States. Several, the Department of Defense used his transport services.
What is his defense? What is his defense for the crimes he's accused of? What is his business and what was he doing?
Look, Viktor Bout was a transporter, period. When you talk about a defense, you really have to be able to distinguish between crimes that are created by the U.S. government. It's called entrapment. No other country in the world does this, where they create a crime and try to lure somebody into committing it. The U.S. government is the only folks that do this. They don't do it in any European country. They certainly don't do it in Russia. That's what they did here. That's called entrapment.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Let me ask you this. Brittney Griner, high profile, a WNBA star. She's a celebrity. Is she your client's best chance at getting out of a prison here and released back to Russia?
Look, I don't think he's his best chance. I think, look, if the Biden administration has the courage to put this together, and by that I mean they have the courage to say, all right, look, let's stop this attack on each other's citizens and try to work things out going forward. Paul Whelan, we think he's a hostage, but you think he's a notorious spy. Brittney Griner, she's admitted her culpability. She's acknowledged responsibility. It's time for us to make a deal and reunite and repatriate these folks.
Go ahead.
Do I think there's a way? Do I think it should be done, Victor, for Brittney? Absolutely. Because again, Brittney's now pled guilty to being a criminal, in effect, right? Whereas Viktor Bout was set up by the United States. Do I think because of the optics, it has to include the notorious spy Paul Whelan? Absolutely.
Has the White House, well, the White House is not commenting, but has the State Department reached out to you and or the Kremlin?
Unfortunately, the U.S. State Department does not communicate with lawyers for Russian citizens until the deal is done. But I have been in touch regularly with the Russian Foreign Ministry. I've had several meetings at the ambassador's residence and at the embassy in Washington. I've met personally with Ambassador Antonov and been assured that Viktor Bout is their #1 priority.
I know you want it to happen, but how likely do you think this is?
Well, look, I think it has to happen for a very simple reason. A short time ago, President Biden approved of a transfer of Konstantin Yaroshenko, who was set up in a similar way as Victor was, for a white male heterosexual Marine, right? Now, the optics here are bad. What, is he not going to do a deal for the black female lesbian basketball star? I mean, throw in the fact that she's a 2-time gold medal winner. I mean, what are the optics of that? We're gonna take Trevor Reed home, but we're going to leave Brittney Griner over there. Look, come on. It's once you do that deal once, it's time. You got to do it again. And if that means getting Victor home for Brittney, so be it. If it means throwing in Paul Whelan, we're okay with that too. Frankly, I think the Russian government would approve that. Again, I don't speak for them. I'm not a.
Steve, I'm out of time, but I want to ask you one thing because speaking as a lawyer, you have certain thoughts. Speaking as an American, does this open the door to the possibility that anyone in any country, Russia or elsewhere, will be used as a pawn, the slippery slope that this type of exchange could create?
Yeah, so that's a serious concern. And what has to happen is, first thing the United States has to do is acknowledge that they started the tit for tat by literally kidnapping Viktor Bout, by identifying and targeting a U.S. citizen. That's what started this whole thing that has now created we're not going to treat each other's citizens with the respect that they should. Hopefully that dialogue will now get to a point where there is some sort of a discussion about how we treat each other's citizens. As an American, I hope that happens. But again, you have to acknowledge the reality. The reality is the reduction in the relationship between the United States and Russia started and it was advanced with the targeting of Viktor Bout.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.